Okay, hi, my name is Ncvs Lv. I'm a holistic health coach and I'm with Dr. Sean McKee. And if you're watching this video, it's probably because you've just made a purchase from LifeVantage of either the Vitality Stack, which has 4 components to it, or one of the individual components. So this is going to be a video to explain how to get the most out of these products, because there's very important information that you need to know in order to be able to do that. So the 4 products are Protandim NRF1, Protandim NRF2, ProBio, and omega-3. I had to think for a second there. Okay, so we're going to go through those. I'm going to be talking to Dr. McKee about how to use it best. But before we do that, just in case you've got confused already about what each of these products do, I'm going to give a quick overview. So Protandim NRF1 supports mitochondrial function. That's the powerhouse of the cell, and that helps to repair damage, and it helps to replace mitochondria. So that's NRF1. NRF2 helps to reduce oxidation massively, in fact, by as much as 40% in the first 30 days alone, or even more if you're sick. And between them, they also help with the gene expression. So if you've got gene problems like MTHFR, for example, then you need to be on these products. It's going to help to get the very best out of your weakened genes. The third product is ProBio, and that's a probiotic that is very, very powerful. And one of the really cool things about it is it has the ability to get the probiotics through the gut, not being damaged as they usually are with most probiotics, to where they're needed particularly in the small intestine. Okay, and then omega-3 is the final one. It's very high quality, high grade omega-3, and it has amazing powers, for example, to reduce inflammation, to help with your cholesterol balance and so on. So that's the 4 products. So I'm just going to turn to Dr. McKee. And the first question I'm going to ask you, Dr. McKee, I know with all natural products, there is always the possibility, and I think it's about 10% of the population, but there's always the possibility of having detox symptoms. So could you start off by explaining what that is, and is that something we should be worried about?
Absolutely. It is about 10% of people who, due to years and years of living a life in a relatively toxic environment, exposed to chemicals in the air, water, and foods that we eat, will actually, as the body begins to heal, it will begin to mobilize those stored toxins from where they're kind of protected in your fat to excrete them through, many excretion pathways, either the skin, the colon, the urine, through sweat, etc. And while the toxins are being transported from where they were stored for years to where they're being excreted from you, there's a temporary period where they're actually flowing through the blood, right? And so that can make somebody feel a little yucky. It's really a sign that the products are working, and it's a strong indicator that you really, really need them. Some people choose to try to, ease their way through this, and some people choose to try to push. And always let your intuition, your own sense of your own body and your own health be your guide. If you are somebody that's sensitive, you may want to just ease through it. You can cut the caplet in half. You can cut it into smaller than half. You can literally slice it into slivers and just really ease your way through it. Or, if you're relatively healthy and just, have this temporary yucky feeling, you can actually activate your detox pathways a couple of times a day and really push your way through it. That's what I did. Right.
So you can basically either go slower, or you can push your way through it and go faster. Both methods can work, and it depends on the person. But I'll just add to that it's always a good idea to increase your water intake.
Oh my goodness, yes.
That's going to help to flush through these toxins as they're coming out. So
100%.
Share with us what some of the symptoms that people might have, so that if they experience them, they're going to know, oh yeah, that makes sense. So just
right. It's many of the things that you might experience if you give up caffeine, or if someone were addicted to narcotics, for example. Your body is going to be uncomfortable. Things can include mild headache, slightly elevated heart rate, some bloating, some loose stools, some jitters. And again, increasing your water intake will just help your body flush those toxins out through the urine and also through the stool and sweat. Move your body more too. That's another way to help metabolize and get rid of these toxins, and maybe sweat a little bit too. Sauna use might help. But truly, that is just the best thing to do.
Okay, so some other symptoms that come to my mind, some people will get skin rashes. That's as the toxins are coming through the skin.
Right, because the skin is really your largest detox organ.
Right, so you might get spots, you might get sore throat, any flu-like symptoms, you might get pains and aches that maybe you've had before but now worse, or ones that you haven't had before suddenly appearing. So all this type of stuff is pretty common amongst the 10% of people who, you might get strong headaches, actually.
Right.
Not always mild. Sometimes it can be strong, especially if that's something that, is a problem for you. If you're a migraine type person, then you might get a migraine.
And interestingly, some people have had specific problems with joints in the past, and as part of their detox symptoms, they actually have pain localized to the area where there was a problem in the past, and it's just remarkable. And then, of course, once your body can be activated, you may not ever have that again.
Right. Yeah. So that's a really good point. So sometimes old symptoms that you used to have and don't have reappear as part of your detox because you've got an actual weakness there. It's not really totally resolved, and sometimes that can be tripped, as it were, and kick off again for a little while. Now, how long usually, and obviously everybody's different, and there's no definitive answer, but typically how long might one expect to experience detox if they have them at all?
It's usually a few weeks. 2 to 3 weeks is typical. Can be as long as 6 to 8 weeks.
Right.
Can be just a few days. Everyone is different, and again, titrate, adjust, play with it, listen to your body.
Right. Okay. And just to reiterate again something already said, look, if you can't afford to be off your game because you've got a job that requires absolute full concentration and you can't have a nagging little headache behind or whatever, you don't need to go through detox. You can slow it down, drink more water and take a smaller dose, or even you can have one day you have it, the next day you miss it, and there's various different things that you can do to slow the whole thing down so that you don't get the detox. Okay, so that's detox covered. That's great. I wanted to get that out of the way. So the next thing before we actually get onto the products is, are any of these products contraindicated with any medications?
Well, with regard to the Ncv, what it does is it lowers oxidative stress. So there are no drug interactions per se, but if there's a reason that you might want to increase oxidative stress, always get with your doctor. Like in the case of, certain therapies, they're actually aimed at increasing oxidative stress. And so you want to coordinate, maybe, take a break while you're doing those treatments and then resume. But there are no drug interactions known at this point, since 2003. There have been no known drug interactions with protein.
Right. That's great. So just to expand slightly on your point, there are some protocols for example, for cancer, where they're using oxidation to try and kill the cancer. So if they're using oxidation, you don't want to be fighting that and reducing oxidation. It's in a very rare situation, and you're going to know about it if you're in those situations. So if you don't know you're in one of those situations, you won't be.
Right.
Don't worry about it. So that's Ncv. Any of the others, omega-3, is that going to interfere with any medications?
Nope. Just omega-3 fatty acids. The product's called Omega Plus, and they call it Omega Plus because it has omega-3s, it has omega-7s, and it has D3, which most people are deficient in, 800 IU of D3 in a serving. And the omega-7 is an omega that you probably have never heard of, but it's really important for cellular communication, lean body mass, and just general insulin and blood sugar regulation. The Omega Plus does not have a lot of omega-6s in it for a reason. And that reason is we have too much in our diet.
And not enough 3. Excellent. Okay, so we've dealt with with detox, we've dealt with contraindications, so I'm now going to move to the actual products. Now, not everybody watching this will have had the Vitality Stack with all four. Some of you may have just had, for example, NRF2. That's the most likely one if you've just, oh, thank you, that's great, showing it. So to save you, those of you that have just bought NRF2 listening to the whole video, we're going to start with that one, and then you can turn off after that if you've not got any of the other products. So NRF2. Now, I know it's very important how you take this product because you can reduce its effectiveness if you do it wrong. Okay, so would you like Dr. McKee just to share how we need to take NRF2 for maximum results?
All right, well, this has 5 herbs in it. You know, there's milk thistle, bacopa, green tea, turmeric, and ashwagandha. And so it's very important. The reason it is working so well in so many, in everyone, is the synergy of the exact recipe with the exact ratio of the particular part of one herb to the other. So you want to separate anything that contains these 5 ingredients, again, milk thistle, bacopa, green tea, ashwagandha, and turmeric, from this by 2 hours. That's one thing. The other thing is you want to take it with fat. It's fat soluble, fat absorbed.
Just go back a sec. So in other words, you do not want to be drinking green tea, as an example, or using turmeric or milk thistle anytime close within a couple of hours of you taking that product.
Right.
Throw out the ratios and muck it all up, right? Okay, so we need to avoid. It's mainly going to be green tea and turmeric, I would think, that people might be doing on a daily basis that if they've got to be aware of. Great. So fat. Explain that. Yeah.
It's fat absorbed, so you want to take it with a meal that has a little bit of fat, you know, like a little bit of peanut butter, butter toast, avocado, nuts, that kind of thing. If you're taking the Omega Plus, that'll help. You know, that fat in the Omega product will help. And then obviously if you can add a little extra fat, that'll help that absorption too. But sometimes I can just take it with my Omega Plus and it's fine.
Right, so we need to take it with a fat, and a fatty supplement like omega-3 is going to be a big help, and we need to not take it with any of the 5 ingredients that just mentioned. Great. What about time of day? Does that matter?
You can just use your own body. The way, if some people feel that when they take it, they're energized, so they take it in the morning. Some people feel that it helps them sleep and they take it in the evening. You could take it both times. I take it twice a day often. So just play with it, you know.
Right, okay, so it doesn't matter. What about with food? Obviously we just said fatty food, so I'm assuming that it'd be good to say that taking it with food is perfect, right?
It is perfect, yeah. You can take it with breakfast, you can take it with dinner, evening snack, lunch.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So that's NRF2. So if that's all you bought and you don't want to know about the others, you can now turn off. However, if you have bought the Vitality Stack, you will have 3 more products. So let's look at NRF1. So NRF1, which is the one that you're just showing now, which is a silver label instead of the blue label. Actually, have you got the actual Vitality? It doesn't come like that in the Vitality Stack. It comes.
The Vitality Stack, I love it because it's so convenient. You know, you get the Nerf 2 and the Nerf 1 together.
Right, so that's how it comes in a Vitality Stack. If you turn that around, we should be able to see that's right. There you go, perfect. So that's how it comes in a Vitality Stack rather than buying it individually. Anyway, so NRF1, what, if anything, do we need to know about NRF1? There's 2, you're taking 2 a day for you typically.
Right, 2 capsules a day. Again, it's another synergistic blend. It has acetyl L-carnitine, grape extract, quercetin, coenzyme Q10, and the last one is I can't remember.
Right.
But
I can't remember, and you can't read this tiny writing, right?
Right. I'll think of it in a minute. But basically, what this is a synergistic blend that increases mitochondrial biogenesis. So the NRF1 pathway is what it's named for. Now it stands for nuclear respiratory factor 1, the master regulator of mitochondrial biogenesis. So it helps the mitochondria repair and protect themselves, as does NRF2. But in addition to that, it actually increases mitochondrial biogenesis, which is vital when we're older, if we are involved in physical activity, if we're involved in, intensive activities that require brain or heart function optimized, either executive function or endurance athletes and whatnot, you need as many mitochondria as your cells can have. And as we age and as we are exposed to damage from free radicals, our mitochondria are damaged to the point where they just basically self-destruct in a process called apoptosis. The cell just recycles the parts and uses the proteins and amino acids for other purposes, and your cells are left with fewer mitochondria. Your brain has the most, other than a woman's ovary. Your heart has the second most. So these cells, when they're optimized, have thousands of mitochondria in each cell, and as we age, they...
Just to pause you for a second there, can you give me a couple of examples of health challenges where the mitochondria we know are in trouble?
Well, it's basically most. I will say, cancer is a disease of the mitochondria, Parkinson's, autism, ALS, you name it, Alzheimer's, they all are related to not only oxidative stress, but also mitochondrial dysfunction. So the two really are, I call them a 1-2 punch, reducing cellular stress while increasing cellular energy. That's what you want in every cell in your body.
Right, awesome. So in terms of time, first of all, can you take the two together, or is it best to separate them?
I take them together, and that's fine. We used to think that you could take the NRF1 on an empty stomach and the NRF2 with food, but we've since found that it's just as effective to take them both with food. So that's what I do, just for ease.
So you could potentially take the NRF1, both of them, the NRF2 and omega-3, all together first thing in the morning.
That's right.
And then have your breakfast.
For total ease. Some people take the NRF1 at night and then NRF2 in the morning, and some people literally swap it. So again, you know your body better than anyone. You listen and just find a regimen that works best for you. Okay,
cool. And it doesn't matter with this whether you're taking any other herbs or whatever, that the balance is not the same.
Well, there is a synergy to this as well, so you don't want to take something that has those 5 ingredients in it.
In NRF1 now.
Right. You don't want to take this with, for instance, coenzyme Q10 or acetyl L-carnitine or grape extract.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Quercetin and. Yeah.
Okay, so that's NRF1, NRF2. So we're motoring through these now. So omega-3, that's an easy one, right? So we can take that with our NRF2, ideally.
Right.
And how many a day are we taking omega-3?
You can, the regular dose is 3 a day. If you want to improve your omega index, you can take up to 12 a day. And again, the omega index is the balance of omega-6s and omega-3s to get the pathway moving towards anti-inflammation.
Yeah, so this is the balance between LDL and HDL, and most people have got way too much LDL in comparison to the HDL, and this is basically HDL. So you're getting the balance right, you're improving your balance and therefore decreasing inflammation and reducing all kinds of risks, helping cell function. It just does so much.
Right.
Okay, so omega-3 is there's not any really complications to that. You can take it pretty much any time. But if you're doing NRF2, it's best to take it with that because of the fat. Okay, cool. So finally, probio. So there's 3 a day.
Right. Actually, the bottle has changed. And in the UK, this is known as Pro Plus, and it's in a bottle that's very similar to this.
I have one somewhere, but I'm not going to go and grab it. But yes.
Pro Plus in the UK, but in the United States it's called ProBio, and I love it because I've taken probiotics my almost entire adult life, never been able to tell that they were working. This one, people know it's working, and in a great way.
Right, and the reason that we shouldn't need to be taking probiotics really, but unfortunately because we're all being poisoned even from our water and from the food we're eating and so on, we're attacking the balance of our gut bacteria all the time with these toxins, and so it's a constant battle to keep it in the correct balance. So we really do need probiotics, and as I said, this one is incredibly powerful. They're little round balls, which is a little bit weird. They're not the usual
a little bit hard to swallow.
Say again?
They can be a little bit hard to swallow.
They can. They've actually shrunk. They're not as big as they used to be, so they're not so bad now. But when they were bigger, yeah, it's surprising the difference the shape makes. But a swig of water.
The tip is to tuck your chin. You know, when you drink it, tuck your chin. That'll help open up.
I never remember it. Right, I've got to try and remember that.
Right.
But I don't really have a problem. I can actually swallow 10 pills with one swig of water without a problem, so it's not an issue for me. But okay, so there we have it. That's all 4 products. Was there anything else that I've forgotten that you wanted to add in or say?
Any of these products, even least of all the omegas, but even just the probiotic, when you take it, you're introducing a good gut microbiome, which is going in there and competing with your existing, maybe perhaps unhealthy gut microbiome. So there's going to be a war going on, you know, getting rid of the bad bugs and establishing a healthy microflora. So with that, there can be an adjustment period. We already talked about the possibility of a detox and adjustment period with Nerf 2, but Nerf 1 can also have an adjustment period, because making mitochondria, as you might imagine, is an energy-intensive process. So occasionally people will feel a little tired when they start this, maybe even a little foggy. It just means your body is doing what it's supposed to be doing. So give yourself some grace, you know, take a nap if you have to initially, a couple weeks, and you're going to be like cleaning out the garage, you know. That's what I did.
So but, with the ProBio, was something I think we didn't cover actually. So you're taking 3 a day, and you're taking it before food typically, right? So a little while before you eat, you'll take one.
Best on an empty stomach, but again, if you can't take it on an empty stomach, just take it. I take all 3 at once. Some people take 2 in the morning, 1 in the evening. Some people take 1 with each meal. Some people take 1 in the morning, 2 in the evening. Again, there's no hard and fast rule.
Right, okay. So, and by the way, if you're fasting, water fasting, for example, don't forget your probiotics. That's a great time to take them, because you're not mucking it up with other foods, and you can really start to adjust what's going on in your gut, because there's nothing else messing about with it. So take them.
You just reminded me. We just came out with the bomb diggity prebiotic, which you think of the probiotic as the seeds, you know, the beneficial microbes. You're feeding your seeds with the prebiotic. We have a prebiotic that has 3.7 grams of insoluble fiber, or soluble fiber, and also 4 types of prebiotics that feed these gut bacteria. So, you know, you can do it on your own with, you know, artichoke, you know, insulin, you know, like inulin, and, you know, Jerusalem artichoke, and things like, I don't know, kombucha, however you say it. Gets a little bit expensive. People are finding that they're losing weight and bloat with the prebiotic, because when you make the beneficial gut microbiome happy, you get even better results. So the prebiotic and the probiotic are
this
great.
This is not something in the Vitality Stack, though.
It's not in the Vitality Stack. I just wanted to mention it since we were talking about ProBio, because we just came out with it last week, and I just started using it, and I'm definitely noticing great results with that. So.
And this is something also not available in the UK.
True, but you can do, yeah, you can definitely get your own prebiotics through kombucha and, you know, Jerusalem artichokes.
I'm sure are very helpful as well. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, that's fantastic for all you new customers that have just ordered. Very excited for you and for the results that you're going to be seeing down the line. We love to hear from you. Love to hear what's going on. So thank you very much for trusting LifeVantage with your health, and I'm quite sure that you will be very glad that you did that. So thank you very much from me.
Yep, and I look forward to hearing how these products help you, and I can't wait to see the lives that are impacted just through these biohacking products and optimizing your own gene expression and gut health.
Awesome. Bye-bye, everybody.